In what ways does your media product use, develop, or challenge forms and conventions of real media products? Our media product has challenged and developed conventions used in the indie genre to ensure we are appealing to our target audience through the use of narrative, mise en scene, editing, and camera work. The main conventions of the genre are instruments, casual costume for the characters, monochrome visuals, the blend of narrative and a live performance. In addition to this, other generic conventions is the representation of the sex, drugs, and alcohol theme, which is a dominant ideology in the indie genre. Furthermore, from the mise en scene, we focus on the bed projections and shots in London. However, we challenged the genre by including narrative in the music video with no use of ambient sound. The 1975 Settle Down included ambient sound of crashing waves to indicate the disequilibrium in the narrative of their music video. Throughout our production, there are many extreme close-up shots and mid-shots of instruments being played by the artists. The instruments included bass, drum, guitars, and mic stands. These are all props which are conventional to the indie genre because it can create a mise en scene that will appeal to an indie audience. This is present in my key changes from my primary research of the indie genre. In the 1980s, The Smiths' What Difference Does It Make music video included these props. This is because throughout the indie genre era, it shows the audience that the main focus of the artist is on the music element rather than the mise en scene, which we were reinforcing this idea to our target audience. Furthermore, our target audience can identify with the use of props from the artist, as it is commonly used throughout the indie genre, which can be applied to the uses and gratification theory. Andrew Goodwin music video theory can be applied to our final product, as we ensured there was a relationship created between the visuals and the soundtrack. Thus, during the editing process, the instruments being played is the exact timing on the soundtrack, which made our music video more realistic. Within our digipack and advertisement, we did not include any images of the instruments, as we wanted the main focus to be on our narrative for the active audience. For example, Coldplay Magic music video had a narrative which highlights the issues of an abusive relationship and finding true love. This is conventional as it allows the indie artist to create a narrative to have a hermeneutical codes which can connote mystery for the audience and engage the audience with the production. In addition to this, the Kings of Leon Only by the Night advertisement from my textual analysis research and the 1975 self-titled digipack did not include instruments in their final auxiliary products. This is because a dominant audience is able to associate with the generic indie codes with the music video has it stereotypical to the genre, which conforms to the reception theory, as we are fulfilling these expectations for the active audience by using instruments in our music video. Therefore, the images used on our digipack was a pink bed, and this is an intertextual sign to the relationship issues between the young couple in our narrative. This also reinforces another convention of the indie genre, which is sex, drugs, and alcohol. This is because the bed can also connote the sexual issues in the relationship. However, we challenged the generic indie convention of using monochrome visuals throughout our music video by using part monochrome visuals for the live performance and the natural color of the footage for the narrative. This created binary oppositions, and it also had the intertextual reference to the mood of that scene. For example, the natural color of the footage, which denotes the arcade, the carousel, and London, is bright and colorful, connoting the romantic and joyful relationship between the couple, while the monochrome visuals represent only the narrative and allows the audience to recognize the explicit lyrics of the soundtrack, thus highlighting another indie convention of the artist, as the artist tends to focus on their personal struggles in the lyrics. For example, the 1975 Settle Down music video referred to the main character's struggle with homosexuality. Within our ancillary products, we continue to use the monochrome visuals within the CD cover of our digipack to establish continuity with the ancillary products and the music video production. This is represented in the indie genre as The Killers' Day and Age digipack had a similar mission scene to their music video Humans, which was an abandoned desert. This can allow the audience to associate a relationship between the products. In the magazine advertisement, the background and some of the typography is white, reinforcing the monochrome theme, while some of the typography is washed out with light blue and light pinks to create a contrast. Therefore, the audience has been injected with these ideologies that the monochrome visuals are associated with the indie genre, such as the indie artists from my research, Bands of Horses, The Funeral, and The Neighborhood's Sweater Weather music video. Indie genre ideologies are sex, drugs, and alcohol. In our final product, we use a female character to represent the sex reference to this theme. However, we had to be aware of our certification for our media product, which was 15. Therefore, following the guidelines from the BBFC, British Board of Classification, sexual activity and drug references should not be focused on, as it will not be appropriate for our target audience. Therefore, within the narrative, we did not focus on the explicit reference to drugs in the lyrics. The female character's costume is an oversized white t-shirt, which reinforces her grunge style and her vulnerability to the audience. Thus, we use mid-shots of the female character lying in the bed in an erotic manner. This means the audience can view her as a sexual object, forcing the Props 8 character theory, as the female character can be identified as a damsel in distress role within the final media product. Furthermore, the Laura Mulvey male gaze theory can be applied, as the audience is viewing the female character as being sexualized. This will be an appeal to our production for our target audience. This is another dominant ideology represented in our music video, which is present in The Crooks' Bad Habit music video, and this music video consisted of a naked woman. Another popular theme in the indie genre that was represented in our music video was the love and relationship theme. The main prop for our ancillary products was the pink bed. This is an intertextual sign to the relationship between the couple, and whilst exposing their vulnerabilities in the relationship. This means that audience can identify with these issues in their own relationships, and therefore this will be another appeal to our products. The costume of the artist can relate to the missing scene, as it can allow the artist to create a unique identity. From my key changes of the indie genre, the costume has been casual with a laid-back, effortless manner, which denotes a black, white, grey clothing from artists such as The Jam in the 1980s to The Strokes in the 2000s. In our production, the characters wore black and white clothing with leather jackets to conform to the indie rock convention of costume. This can connote the rebellious and going against the norm lifestyle which the indie genre represents. for example, Coldplay and Foo Fighters. Furthermore, the costume of the artist can allow the audience to recognize that the main focus is on the music rather than the costume or missing scene. A non-linear narrative is used in a media product which challenges the indie conventions of using a linear narrative and challenges Tzveran Todorov narrative theory. Indie artists tends to use a linear narrative which creates a story for the audience to follow, including their creative outlook. However, as our audience is a younger generation, we focus on an issue that is relatable, such as a young couple arguing, which can create tension for the audience. This is the disequilibrium in our narrative. This allows the audience to engage and question our final product due to the lack of information the audience is provided with, as the couples arguing on the bed. For example, questions the audience may ask is why they're arguing. Therefore, it creates an enigma for the audience, as we are positioning the active audience in a position to decode our media product and allow the audience to have their own intertextual meanings of our final product in terms of Stuart Hall theory. Another developed convention in the indie genre we used in our media product was the music video having a narrative and a linear performance of the artist performing. This is more common within the late 1990s because the artist tends to focus on current issues relating to society or the artist in the narrative. This will allow an active audience to deconstruct the narrative. For example, Dead Kennedys Police Trucks music video focused on a social realism issues whilst emphasizing the violent nature of the police to the citizens. A Christian Metz analyst can be applied to a music video as it included a deconstruction stage of the genre with the combination of a live performance and the narrative. The soundtrack of a music video can connote the artist's struggles with MD, drugs. However, we did not focus on our narrative on the use of drugs as we are following the guidelines set by the B certification, which is 15 for our target audience. Therefore, we have to consider a narrative more appropriate for our audience. The narrative is for our music video is a young couple arguing and getting back together. This can appeal to our audience as stereotypically the audience can have similar issues as we are focusing on a younger generation. The lead singer from our band in our final production has a constant direct mode of address to the audience throughout the narrative. This means the artist can connect to the audience on a personal level. This is because the audience has the ability to recognize this common convention and has been injected this ideology in terms of the hypodermic needle theory. And furthermore, this convention has also been used throughout the indie genre, such as The Killer's Brightside. Brandon Flowers, that is the lead singer, has many close-up shots in the music video which has a direct mode of address. We used many extreme close-up shots and mid-shots of the lead singer. This is another conventional feature we included in our production because it allows the audience to identify with the artist on a personal level, which is similar to the use of direct mode of address from the artist. This is also again represented in the 1975 Love Me music video, as it included many close-up shots of the lead singer Matt Healy. Furthermore, indie bands tend to focus more on the lead singer as they have more significance than the other band members, as the audience can relate to the lead singer the most in comparison to the other band members. We followed this convention in our ancillary products as the lead singer is only present on the front cover of the advertisement. This can allow our audience to identify the band due to the significance of the lead singer, lyrics, and recognize the genre. Furthermore, in the Stuart Hall theory, the audience can accept our media product as it conforms to this convention in the indie genre. However, we challenge the genre by not including any diegetic sound within the narrative element of our music video. Indie artists tend to include diegetic sound as it can create a more voluminous narrative which can engage the audience. This is present in my textual analysis research of the 1975 Settle Down, where ambient sound was used for the wind, which made the location more realistic to the audience. In addition to this, we also challenge the indie genre by using a dominant female presence, as stereotypically the focus in the narrative revolves around the lead singer or male character. For example, the female character Alice B is first introduced into the narrative as she takes a large composition of the shot, which allows the audience to follow her journey. This is represented in my textual analysis of Foo Fighters' The Pretenders, when the lead singer is battling dominance over the antagonist. Furthermore, in the Dire Star theory, the main reason the lead singer or male character is used because the audience can relate to the male character. Furthermore, in the Dire Star theory, the main reason the lead singer or male character is used because the audience can relate to this character in the band. Therefore, within our ancillary products, we use the male lead singer. However, for our narrative, in our music video, we used a female character because the audience can emphasize with the female character, as stereotypically she is seen as more weaker in comparison to the male character.